What's up, BookTube? Let's go ahead and talk about Mistborn. If I can actually grab these, that'd be great. So I finished this trilogy within probably 3 weeks. The last book took me a little bit longer than the first two. The first two I finished in 6 days, which is wild because I never finish big chunky books like this in that short amount of time. I devoured these. These were my first Brandon Sanderson books that I have ever read because this was where I wanted to start. A bunch of people told me different answers with where I should start with Brandon Sanderson whenever I asked them, and this was probably the most common one to come up. And then I found used copies of these specific editions. So I was like, yeah, I'm getting them. Cool with that. So I just had a feeling that I really, really want to read some high fantasy. And I was like, okay, let's start some Sanderson. Let's see if I end up liking this. And I only bought the first one first. I was really nervous too because I was like, what if I don't like him? And I already have two of his other books, the big giant tomes that I have on my shelf somewhere like right there. And I was just like worried that I wouldn't like it. So I started it and I got hooked immediately within probably the first 50 pages, which is not shocking for someone like me who adores fantasy, but it really feels like a very lived in world. And I haven't listened to too many people talk about Mistborn specifically, so, and its world, but I was going back and forth with a few of my friends who have read Sanderson, and all of them said that Hero of Ages was their favorite book. So, Mistborn, I got through in a snap. It was very, very fast. It kept my attention the entire time. Well of Ascension took a little bit more time. And I'm gonna try to do this spoiler free. But the first bit of it kind of slogged through, and there wasn't a ton happening until just around the halfway point, to a little bit past the halfway point. Then shit started going. Like, I want to say it went downhill. It could have gone uphill. I truthfully can't remember if it was good or bad. I think it was kind of just like a culmination of things. And that's really what these books focus on, is just building and building and building. And then all of a sudden it just bursts. And you don't want to put it down by the ending, which I love because I would rather slog through the first little bit of a book than be halfway or over halfway or near the end and be like, I don't want to continue reading this. Where if I've already invested time into these books, I really, really don't want to feel like I don't want to continue them and finish them. So I would say out of the three, Hero of Ages was my favorite. And that's what everyone was telling me. And I was just like, how? How can the last book be your favorite? And that one took me a little bit more time because it was very similar to the Well of Ascension, where it kind of slogged in the beginning and I wasn't sure what was going to happen. Truth be told, though, the entire time through this series, I didn't know what was going to happen. And I tried guessing, I tried being like, oh, well, this could happen, or this might like be a betrayal or something, whatever. I could not guess. It was literally like I was just in it for the ride. It was like a roller coaster. You just kind of got to let it take you where it's going to take you. But back to Hero of Ages, it ended up being my favorite within the last 20 pages. And I haven't cried at a book in a very, very, like, genuinely wanted to cry because of a book and, like, couldn't help myself in such a long time. And this one did it for me. And so I went straight to my coworker who has read once I finished it and went, so I finished it, and he had a blank look for a second and then went, oh, how you feeling? It was such a good wrap up to the characters, to the series. It was heartbreaking, but at the same time it was so hopeful. And knowing what I know about the next series, the next, I guess it's a trilogy, I'm not sure. Uh it takes place, I guess this might be a spoiler. This might be a spoiler. I just want to let you know. But it takes place 300 years after this trilogy. I don't think that's that much of a spoiler. I'm going to be completely honest with you. But I'm really interested to see how the world has changed. How all of this turns into that. And there's also little novelettes that I'm going to read in between. But I actually had a customer come in and we were talking about Mistborn because he wanted to know like if I had finished or not. 'Cause he's also a huge Brandon Sanderson fan, and I was like, okay, people are saying read the novels before I read the next trilogy, and so I think that's what I'm gonna do because they're short. And he was like, hold on, wait, because there's a book, and I can't remember what book it is, that in the afterword Brandon says read them now. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess I'm gonna wait then. I'm gonna wait. I'll wait. For those of you out there who are debating on whether or not you're going to read Brandon Sanderson, I would say start with Mistborn. I personally actually don't have as much stake in the game because I haven't read any of his other books. But if you think you're going to enjoy it, if you like high fantasy, I think any fantasy reader would enjoy this. If you read Name of the Wind and enjoyed it and want a little bit more action and things that happen in it versus Name of the Wind, then I would say read Mistborn. It's especially action packed, and it feels like you almost have a grasp of what is going to happen, and then it completely blows your mind because you don't know what's going to happen. Think I loved the most out of it, and this is what a lot of people say as well, is the magic system. It was so interesting, and it changed as characters found out things about it. It's wonderful. And again, I think the ending to Hero of Ages is one of the most satisfying endings because it really puts a bow on a lot of the characters. Let me know down below if you have read Mistborn or any other Sanderson. What order should I read these in? Because I'm not gonna lie, I truthfully don't know at this point. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe if you would like to. It keeps me going for sure. And let me know what other series I should read if I liked Brandon Sanderson. Should I read Wheel of Time? I do have the first one, and I'm just not sure if I would want to stick around for how many books that is. I don't think I've read a series like that since probably middle school where it has that many books in the series. Yeah, wow. Yeah, it would be middle. Wow, my goodness. Trilogies, I think, are my sweet spot. Trilogies and duologies are my sweet spot. And even then, standalones. I love standalones. We're getting off topic. I will see y'all later. Have a good day. And go read a book. Go read a book. Go read a book. Bye, guys.